Hey guys, I'm Kaitlin and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you guys can see in the title, I've produced another episode in the series that I created called The Boston Tea Party. My intention for this series is to interview students all over Boston, asking about their college, social life, academic life, and just total environment in their Boston school. In the first episode, I interviewed 4 students from Emerson, and today I've interviewed another set of 4 students ranging from schools from Wellesley College, Emmanuel College, Tufts University, and again, Emerson College. Before we start, I want to apologize for the video and audio quality of this video. It is not the best because I do interview on Zoom, and so with the stay-at-home order in place, it prohibits us from being able to interview in person. So I apologize for that inconvenience. This is probably my favorite series on this channel, and I hope you guys enjoy another episode in this series. So if you do, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already, definitely go subscribe to my channel. But without further ado, let's just get into the questions and into the video. Okay, we're recording. Okay, so before we start, can you state your name, your school that you go to, year you just finished, and your major or your minor?
I'm Surya Daniel, and I go to Emmanuel College, and I'm a freshman doing pre-med.
My name is Olivia Rivera. I go to Wellesley College. I just finished my first year, and I am an English major with a double major that I'm not sure what the other one is going to be yet. Maybe media, arts, and sciences, but I don't know.
My name is William Friedman. I just finished my first year at Tufts University. I am a major in biology with a secondary major in biotechnology. I think I'm on the pre-med track, but we'll see how that goes after Orgo. And I plan to graduate in 2023.
So my name's Mari. I'm a student at Emerson College, just like Kaitlin. I'm a marketing communications major student. I just finished my sophomore year of college and about to start my junior year.
So my first question is, how was your transition into Boston and into the school that you go to?
So Tufts is we're kind of near Boston. We're not really technically in Boston. We're in Medford, which is a suburb of Boston. It takes 10, 15 minutes by T to get to Davis. Then you have to walk to Tufts. So altogether about a 20, 25 minute kind of transition to Boston. But I really like the city. Growing up kind of in the middle of nowhere with Kaitlin in Cooperstown, kind of didn't have that opportunity to kind of go to the city and kind of go to shops and kind of have all these escape options in a way. So it was really fun transitioning to Boston, a little overwhelming at first, but definitely just going into the city and being able to connect with friends, see other walks of culture, walks of life, having opportunities of research around you is just incredible. So I really like Boston. It's an amazing city, full of students, just so vibrant. So yeah.
So I came to Emerson as a transfer student, so it's a little bit more different and complex than someone who comes in as a freshman who has orientation and all these other fun things to do. I had already lived in Boston prior to attending Emerson, so I knew the environment and it was it was a comfortable area for me. But definitely the transition to going to Emerson was big. I think when you come in as a freshman, everyone's new. Everyone's there to become your friend. Everyone's there to meet someone new and kind of experience it with you. Whereas when you come in as a transfer and you're not a first year, it's a little harder because everyone has their friend groups. Everyone's kind of found themselves. And a lot of, for example, at Emerson, transfers can't live on campus generally. So it's harder to be a part of organizations on campus and FSL or different things like that. It's a lot more complex, which is also makes it harder to kind of meet people in general.
I would say I got very comfortable with it really quickly. When you go, they have kind of a whole orientation process for a week where you talk about your feelings and whatnot with other people. So I got friends, or at least friends to talk to and eat lunch with in the residence hall really quickly. And I'm sure that would happen with anyone like who goes to Wellesley. And people were very open in the very beginning. It was, for me, a little strange, kind of like starting the school and not really knowing what to do with college specific things like office hours. I was like, I have no idea what that is. Do you just show up? People were very nice about that. I would say, I guess it took me a few months to get really comfortable with going anywhere and doing everything, kind of taking advantage of all the ways to get to Boston. I was kind of scared to do it at first, like, oh, I don't want to be in the city by myself, but it was fine. It was fine after like maybe like a month or two.
It was pretty good, honestly. I mean, I'm like a city person, so I was kind of excited to go, and I wasn't really nervous. So I had that going for me, I guess. But it was fine. It wasn't that bad, honestly.
How did you choose your program? Like, why did you choose it?
So when I was kind of deciding what I wanted to do in college, I was kind of going between some type of science. I was really interested by chemistry, as well as marketing. I want to be in the cosmetic industry and have my own business. So I was kind of bouncing between the two, and kind of when looking at schools and kind of thinking about the things I like to do, I like to be very creative and do very creative things. And I kind of like the idea of having a lot of freedom when it came to marketing, kind of being able to design what I want and come up with an idea and see it in real life. And that was really intriguing to me. And also I knew that if maybe the cosmetic industry wasn't an industry I was too interested in, like in the future, that marketing industry and any industry really would be really interesting for me, and kind of keeping that creativity that I really love.
Well, I've been interested in medicine for a while. You might know that, I don't know. Because I did like New Visions and stuff, which is a program through my high school, through our high school, where I basically just went to the hospital every day and shadowed doctors and other workers there. So that got me interested in medicine.
Did you have any doubts with that specific program?
Other than just being like nervous for how hard it was going to be and like the workload, not much really. I just don't know if like that's exactly what I want to do, but yeah.
I was just always very interested in reading, so I chose English. I kind of just assumed that I would be an English major. I'm still trying to decide what the next, I guess the other program I'm going to do is. But I've been able to, they have such a wide range of classes that I've just been choosing all the different ones that I like. Because I guess that's something that would help a lot of people who are trying to choose. They're like trying to figure out what their major is when they first get there, because at Wellesley, the first semester you have is shadow graded. So every class is pass fail automatically. So they basically tell you to just go. That's the month where or the semester where you try new things. You go out to Boston, like you try to just do everything you can to get acclimated to, I guess, what college life is. So I think that's a really great opportunity. None of the classes that I really took my first semester ended up being my major, but yeah. I guess English, I always knew I was going to be it. The other one, undecided.
How did your school like go about the COVID-19 move out? Just explain it to your best ability.
Okay. So how did the Boston schools kind of going online? So originally Harvard went online, and that was like a Saturday or a Sunday. It was like a Saturday night, and like everybody at like the Tufts campus was talking. You know, there's a case in Somerville, which is like, so Tufts is like Medford and Somerville. So if like you're on one portion of Tufts campuses, you're at Medford. But if you're in another portion, you're at Somerville. There's a line, and I always get confused where it is. But anyway, so there was a case in Somerville. And so people were kind of talking about it, like what if we went online? And then like I heard other people say, we do basically whatever Harvard does. In 2 days, they asked us to move out. I called Kaitlin, so told her that news. Anyway, so we were actually going to go to spring break, and instead of going on spring break, we actually just moved out. So
Okay. So it was pretty good. I mean, we had no cases. We had absolutely no cases when by the time we left, but for a few weeks it was kind of like up in the air because we were the last college to say, or at least one of the last colleges to say that everybody was going home in the Boston area, but I think they handled it pretty well. We had like an assembly saying just how to pack up everything very quickly. I think it was March 13th where we got the email saying we had to be out by next week, like the middle of next week. So I wouldn't say it was that bad.
I mean, honestly, they handled it pretty well. I feel like the best they could in like the circumstances, but I think they could have given us a little bit more time to move out. I only had one weekend, so that was kind of, I just felt a little bit rushed, but other than that, it was fine. I mean, they did all they could, so there's not much they could do. I don't know.
Yeah. How did you feel about leaving Boston and like leaving your friends and leaving your dorm?
It was very sad. I was ready to kind of go off spring semester because, like, I don't know, I knew, like, what my workload was like. I had more friends, nicer weather, but rip to that. So.
It was so sad. It was so sad. Yeah, because at the time that I left, I had really gotten, like, very used to living there, and I really loved living there. So leaving there so abruptly was not very fun. I missed out on a lot of, like, I guess senior activities or being in Boston when it's not 12 degrees out. And it was also especially sad saying goodbye to a lot of my friends who were like seniors, that it was just a very abrupt goodbye. And since we didn't have like we only had a few days to pack up everything, and I had to leave like during the weekend, so like 2 days afterwards, I really didn't get to say, like, hang out with them a lot or like say goodbye in like the best way possible.
Do you think your school could have handled the move out differently in any way or inform you differently?
I think they could have, like I said earlier, I think they could have informed us a little bit more ahead of time, if that was even possible. I don't know. But yeah, just giving us like a little bit more time to move out, I would say. I think online classes was a little bit rough. They should have altered that, but.
How did you feel about the transition from being in person to online? How were your feelings?
I am personally someone who works a lot better in person. Online is not really my thing. And I think depending on the class you're in, I was pretty lucky because I was taking courses that could transition relatively well. I had, for one of my classes, for example, my professor had all his lectures pre-recorded videos. So he put it all up and it was as if we were still in class teaching us the material, which was great. And I had other professors who gave normal lectures live and kind of really were considerate about where we were kind of, or our condition, I guess you could say, within our homes, also like just the huge change of environment and things happening all over our personal lives and in the world in general. But yeah, I'd say in general, I think it was a tough transition for me personally. But it ended up working out better than I thought it would, that's for sure.
we went online, but I would say generally my classes have been a little easier, a little less stressful, I would say, which is nice. Teachers have been very amicable, although I know, well, at least my teachers are very amicable in talking about the course loads and like how to accomplish assignments. Lab was really interesting. Online we had like simulations, so we had to like do beetles and it's like how many eggs on average the beetles reproduce. So like with that, they would give us that information, and then we'd have to base like our analysis on that, and like we kind of have like virtual kind of usage of equipment in a way, which is kind of really interesting. So I would say classes in the semester went pretty well online, but it kind of varied per class and per person. So it would really depend who you asked and what classes they were taking.
Honestly, like, not great. Just because, like, the curriculum, like, of my courses is pretty, like, hands-on and pretty difficult because I'm taking 2 labs. And, like, labs online, I think, in my opinion, it's kind of pointless. Like, I didn't really do much with that. So it was definitely could have been better. My teachers, like, didn't really um, change any of the workload or like any of the curriculum, which is fine, but like it just made it a lot harder.
Do you think your school is right for you?
I think so. I think the location is for sure. I just don't know about the actual school. But like in my opinion, like I don't know. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So Kaitlin knows me. I'm kind of a very anxious student, and I kind of get intimidated or kind of nervous about my work in a way. But I do think Tufts is right for me. I had my doubts, as everybody should, when going into college, just to kind of see if the school's right for you.
Yeah, I would say I definitely couldn't really imagine going anywhere else or wanting to go anywhere else. So I'm very happy there.
I think you made the right decision to transfer. Like, do you think Emerson is a good fit for you?
100%. I was really nervous about it because I had different ideas of different schools that were very interesting to me. I had visited schools, I'd gone on interviews and different things like that. And I was kind of dabbling between Northeastern and Emerson, and both for the marketing program, but I knew that Northeastern could offer me chemistry as a minor if I wanted to as well, which is kind of why I kept with it. But kind of by the end of like waiting for decisions and stuff like that, I kind of realized that I thought Emerson would be the right place for me, and I couldn't have been more right about that. I went in with high expectations about it working out for me, but I came out this after my first year with even higher expectations because it worked out so well. The transition worked well, and just the whole campus environment and people environment, and like I said, a lot of times the creativity in general, like I couldn't have made a better choice to transfer to Emerson personally.
Okay, so the last question I have for you, this kind of wraps everything up together, and it touches upon some of the things that you've already said. But if you could say one thing that you really like about your school and one thing that you kind of dislike or wish was different about your school, what would it be? What would they be?
I really love how kind of supportive and open, I guess, a lot of the people are. I think going to a historically women's college, I don't know, it's just like people, you could really do whatever and people will not care. And they will also not judge you. Like something that might be considered embarrassing at like another school, or just like been like dressing weird or being interested in something weird. You could really do anything. And there will be people who are very interested in it and like very supportive of you. I'd say there is like a culture of people and their friends being like very like tight knit and like always checking up on each other. So I think that's very sweet. One thing I don't really like about the school is also about the community. Not that I don't really like it, it's just something I guess people should be wary of. I know a lot of my friends have really hated this aspect, is the competitiveness of the community. A lot of people are very competitive. It's kind of like a culture where a lot of people are stressed. Not everybody, but there are people who are very stressed in their courses or are taking a lot of courses and kind of make it into a competition with other people when you did not ask to be in this competition. So I would say, I guess that's the only thing to look out for.
Being able to call school home and just like finding people and like finding your life. You know what I mean? Just like centering, like just being able to like bond with your floor, bond with your bond with people who you see across the table at lunch on every Tuesday, and just saying, hey, just being able to strike up a conversation with them, and just kind of fostering a healthy academic environment. So that's kind of what I love. It's just like the power of like the students there. They're just, everybody's just so nice, and nobody's just so prudent or snobby in a way. And it's just this collaborative academic environment, which I really, really love. One thing I would have like, I was thinking about that, but like initially, like sometimes like the course requirements are a little stressful, and some of the courses are kind of geared to be more high pressure than others. For example, like a French class, like I told Kaitlin about a lot, like I just had a lot of vocabulary memorizing that like wasn't the easiest for me, but it might have been easier for some people. So like, don't quote me on that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if I didn't like this class, but I thought it was hard, other people may not. But some of the classes are just a little harder than I thought they would be, which is totally okay. I go to college to learn, and I definitely, that's what I have to do. Some classes are a little more rigorous than others, so it's just like the humanities requirements are sometimes kind of tough, I would say. But they're definitely doable.
I like the location, obviously. I like the friends that I've made, and I actually like a lot of my professors. I would just say the size is like a perk and a con. I like the small class sizes. I like having like a smaller sense of community, but at the same time, I kind of don't always want to see like the same faces like every day, or like have people in the same classes as me like multiple times. But that's about it.
I think, starting with the thing I dislike, I think the thing I don't like as much is what I've noticed is students are busy. Emerson students are the busiest people I have ever met. They always have something happening. I know people who they're overdoers, but in a good way. They're constantly joining orgs. I've met people who are presidents of multiple orgs all at one time, and I don't know how they do it. And sometimes I wonder if they're giving themselves time for themselves, like, as opposed to they're in class and they're off doing something else. They're in class, they're off doing something else. And I find that very impressive, but at the same time, I think doing too much can sometimes be a lot. I don't know. Something I like or love, I think that the creative, like being around so many creative people, so many people who have very big visions for their life and who are doing anything and everything to try to pursue it, and they're not willing to give up to do that. They're really, I think it's really, Emerson's also a very tight-knit, like strong community within itself, and everyone supports everybody. Yes, sometimes maybe there's going to be something that happens, but that's normal. But I think just being around so many people who are very inspiring and who all have so many different interests. Our school offers so many different majors and minors that I'm learning about daily by talking with someone. So I think kind of the whole spectrum of Emerson, it's people, it's creativity, it's courses too, because there's a lot of fun ones, I think are pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for like taking the time to letting me like interview you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaitlin. I love the vlog channel, love the Emerson vlogs.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry if I kept looking around. I was trying desperately to look at.
Well, thank you so much for doing this for me. I really appreciate it.
A pleasure. Absolute pleasure.